there's a possibility that the West Virginia National Guard stay in the nation's capital could extend beyond November. Formal orders were issued last week extending the deployment of the DC National Guard in the city through the end of February. So you got to ask yourself, well, but why? And I was just in Washington, D.C., and, I saw National Guards members in Navy Yard, over by the wharf, over by 14th Street, just walking around. They're just walking around looking bored as I don't know what. And so you got to ask yourself, so what's the point of spending all this money every day to keep them in the nation's capital? Well, it seems like this deadline for them to leave, it keeps shifting closer and closer and closer to the upcoming primary elections and what I believe will likely be the general election in 2026. Watch this. Save this. Make a mental note. Make a mental note of this conversation right now, because I have a feeling we're going to be coming back to it very, very soon. In other news, Fullerton police here in Southern California, Fullerton police, they stop a man pointing a gun at a female driver only to learn he's an ICE agent. Let me explain that. The LA Times is reporting that a Fullerton police officer intervened when he saw a man in plain clothes pointing a gun at a female driver on a busy street in Santa Ana. The man later identified himself as an immigration agent and accused the driver of, quote, following him during an operation. A refrain increasingly heard as agents push back on people recording their movements. Now, the brief but tense encounter on Sunday, caught partially on video, it raises concerns. It raises concerns as it joins a growing list of cases of masked and plainclothes agents being mistaken for criminals and vice versa. The officer had just dropped off an inmate at the Orange County Jail and was returning to Fullerton when he noticed a man exit a vehicle at an intersection and draw his weapon on the driver behind him. That's according to a statement from the Fullerton Police Department. After the agent identified himself, the officer told him, quote, he could not assist with someone following or recording him if no crime had occurred and that local law enforcement was en route. Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond to comment. The FBI issued a memo suggesting that agents clearly identify themselves while they're in the field after a string of incidents in which mass criminals posing as immigration officers robbed and kidnapped victims. I've been saying this from day one. This is a problem. ICE agents are not trained in local policing, and it's only a matter of time until we're going to start to see people get hurt, not just innocent folks in communities that are being pulled over and in some cases harassed by ICE agents, but the ICE agents themselves. If somebody in plain clothes without identifying themselves as a law enforcement person pulls a gun out on you, what do you think most people are going to do? Right? That does not make America any safer. Any safer. When we come forward, we're switching gears. Everybody's talking about the big cave. The big cave on Capitol Hill. Democrats been fighting that fight, talking that talk about fighting to reduce the rising cost of healthcare. Our premiums are going up, up, up. What did Democrats do? They struck a deal with Republicans that's feeling a lot like betrayal to people across the country. When we come forward, I'll be joined with Isaac Wilson. He is the former South Carolina Democratic Party chair. He's also a Democratic strategist and a frequent contributor right here on A More Perfect Union. We're going to separate the fact from the fiction on this. When we come forward, you're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's. The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Dateline Friday, November 7, 2025. Dear Mr. Pizarro, I hope that this letter finds you well. As you know, last evening, KBLA Talk 1580 hosted an Altadena town hall entitled Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The venue was at capacity, and as KBLA has maintained all along, no plaintiff's counsel was involved in any aspect of the program, such that Southern California Edison could well have participated per its initial commitment in writing on October 7, 2025. That said, in both private communications and public pronouncements, we note that SCE has offered to appear on KBLA Talk 1580 to address the Altadena community regarding its fast pay program, which was discussed in depth at last night's gathering. We would like to accept SCE's offer and invite you, Mr. Pizarro, to appear on KBLA's nationally syndicated radio program, Tavis Smiley. The show broadcasts weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we are happy for you to choose any day, any hour for a live in-studio conversation. Please let us know which day and time work best for you. We look forward to welcoming you to our studios in Leimert Park. Sincerely, Tavis Smiley, founder, Smiley Audio Media, Inc., Chief Visionary Officer, KBLA Talk 1580, host, Tavis Smiley. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback. Hit me!
National News The Consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. I'm really delighted to be in conversation with Dr. Isaac Wilson. Dr. Isaac Wilson is a Democratic strategist and former South Carolina Democratic Party chair. And no doubt has a lot to say about what has transpired in the nation's capital over the course of the last 24 hours. Let me just lead off with this. The Griot is reporting that Black U.S. senators explain why they voted no on the government shutdown deal. Of course, we know the Democratic Party is divided after 8 Democrats, 8 in the U.S. Senate voted with Republicans to reopen the government after a historic 40-day shutdown that has left millions of families without SNAP benefits and thousands of federal workers without pay. I spoke to some of the TSA agents as I was traveling back from D.C. Over the night, and they're feeling it. They haven't received a paycheck in about 6 weeks. That's 2 pay periods. They have not received a paycheck. And so this gamesmanship ain't translating well to their B of A accounts, right? So let's just be clear on that. But the Black U.S. senators, they clearly understood the assignment. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey says, quotes, "As I've always said, I will not support a government funding bill that continues to raise our costs, jeopardize our health care, and hurts the people of my state." He says he's urging his colleagues on both sides of the aisle to stand up for Americans who are counting on us to lower their costs and address the urgent and, in too many cases, dire challenges that people are facing across the country. U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia said in a statement that he voted no on the bipartisan deal because, quote, it doesn't provide relief to the 1.2 million Georgians who are about to see their healthcare premiums double or more. He added that people cannot afford that. And then we heard folks like newly elected U.S. Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware say, quotes, each day Americans must choose between carrying health care coverage and affording the exceptionally high cost of living. This is why it's up to Congress to prioritize and act on the affordability crisis facing our constituents. Finally, we know that Senator Angela Alsobrooks of Maryland, she said that the first 11 months of the Trump administration have been a disaster and that Maryland residents are struggling to pay their bills because of energy costs and grocery prices. She joining with the other Black senators, they clearly understood they could not support this bill, yet and still it crossed the finish line. Are you surprised, Dr. Wilson?
I'm a little bit surprised because let's be real. A no vote from Black senators was not rebellion. It was resistance. They're tired of the backroom deals that always come in the expense of working families and communities of color. I mean, you can't keep telling us to wait our turn while at the same time, folks who cause a crisis get rewarded. So sometimes no is the only honest word left in politics, and they've stood the test of time for what 40-something days, and I think they should have still held the line. I think people are running scared, tucking their tails, and they're seeing that their constituents get upset and mad. And sometimes it's going to get worse before it gets better, and so they should have held the line. But our Black senators understood the excitement, as you said.
Do you look at this as a betrayal? Did Senate Democrats betray the Democratic base that just last Tuesday were a part of powering some sweeping wins across the country for Democrats? Was this a betrayal to the base?
Oh, definitely a betrayal. We're out here talking for you. We're out here fighting for you. We're having interviews saying that the Democrats aren't playing this time. There are people who saying, hey, we're going to get this food bank up. They're sharing meals. They're sharing food. They're doing the work that communities do when they're in crises. And yet you guys went literally behind our Black backs in the middle of the night and sided with Republicans for no reward. Because let's be honest, they're not going to meet. They're not going to pass any healthcare legislation. If they would have done it a long time ago. It would have been on the table in January, in February, in March, in April, in May. Here we are in November. It's Thanksgiving. They have not brought a Trump healthcare or a healthcare initiative from Congress. So you think now that they got what they want, they're going to come and talk to you at the table? Definitely betrayal with nothing in sight that's going to come and benefit the American people.
And so, talk to us about what happens from here. Where do we go from here? I saw Senator Shaheen on CNN earlier, talking about how opening up the government was the first step towards continuing to fight another day, continuing to fight for healthcare. To me, it feels very performative because while Senator Shaheen was saying that, we had Speaker Johnson in a different interview saying that, well, he never really committed to the House voting on Obamacare subsidies. And Isaac, why would he? I mean, the Republicans have been pretty clear that they don't believe Obamacare should exist. And this is the best chance that they've had in well over a decade to make Obamacare so unpopular by making it so unaffordable. And so what incentive do they have to agree to give Democrats a fair vote in the House and the Senate?
They have none. I mean, they pretty much got what they want. They're going to give their friends big tax breaks, and the American people will suffer. I just think that Democrats, we kowtow to Republicans because of what people think about us. And so sometimes we got to step back and let people think what they want. But we're doing the real work and trying to get people affordable health care. My grandmother's medicine right now is $40 a month for her blood pressure medicine. It's $40. I'm afraid that her Walmart salary, her Walmart as a sales associate, it's not going to cover her medicine as it skyrockets. Those are the kitchen table things that we should be talking about and that Republicans should care about, that they say they care about. But you saw that they didn't even have a meeting. So much people put the power on Democrats opening the government, but the Republicans could have got at the table. They could have got and said, hey, we're going to include this in the bill for another year, or we're going to include this in the bill until January. Why couldn't they have said that? It's a continuing resolution till January. They could have said, hey, we're going to give you health care in January so we can talk about this thing. They didn't do that. So they have a responsibility just like Democrats do. And again, there's no incentive for them. They got everything they want. They got the whole cow.
Right? They sure did. They sure did. And they got the whole cow at the expense of all of us. I mean, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, your healthcare costs are going to go up. If you are a business owner, right, the healthcare for your employees, it's going to go up, right? And a year ago, didn't we have an election where people said that affordability was the top issue for them? Then we have an election where people said that we trust Trump, the folks who showed up on election day at least. I'm gonna come back to the uncommitted voters in a second. But for the folks that showed up on election day, they believed that Trump was the one who would actually lower costs for them. And he hasn't done it. And to add insult to injury, Democrats on Capitol Hill have been ineffective in being able to connect those dots. I mean, we've seen Democrats running for governor, running for mayor, running for everything else, be able to effectively make that connection and gain the support of voters. But for some reason, Senate Democrats are either unable, unwilling, or unskilled. Which one is it?
I think it's both. I don't understand. Again, I keep going back to the whole Democrats having to be the ones that come to the rescue. And so sometimes we have to sit back and challenge the status quo. These people have to go back to their districts and they have to answer to those rural Republican voters who their health care is going to skyrocket as well. They have to go back and answer for why they don't have SNAP benefits. If you got somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has turned the tide and said that, yeah, Trump, I don't know about that. I don't know about these people coming off health care. Democrats need to look at that and say, okay, hey, let's keep this thing going. And more Republicans are going to start to go home and their constituents are going to feel them a little bit. Like, hold on here now. You're starting to mess with my everyday life and mess with my money a little bit. So
we're gonna see if Marjorie Taylor Greene is for real, because she's been on this little tour. She was on The View. She's been on TV talking about being at odds with Trump, particularly on these Obamacare subsidies. But look, if Marjorie Taylor Greene was able to organize a couple more Republicans to say no to this, it wouldn't happen, right? And so a lot of people out there talking that talk, but don't watch what they say, watch what they do. When we come forward, progressive groups are calling for Senator Chuck Schumer to resign over the shutdown vote. We're going to get Isaac's take on that and also get a sense of how this is playing on the ground in the important early primary state of South Carolina. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries criticized Republicans on NBC's Meet the Press, saying they're not acting in good faith on health care as the government shutdown drags on.
We're also fighting to drive down the high cost of living. Donald Trump promised to lower costs on day one. Costs aren't going down.
A deal has been reached, but the Senate must still finalize and approve the agreement before sending it to the House and President Trump. Black Rep. Jasmine Crockett is praising Democrats for not pressuring Black Virginia Attorney General-elect Jay Jones to quit after old text messages surfaced showing him joking about shooting former GOP House Speaker Todd Gilbert. And Michael Jackson is still making history more than 16 years after his death. His classic hit Thriller is back on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 10, making him the first artist ever to score top 10 hits in 6 different decades. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Sun Valley on the 170 northbound before the 5. A stalled car's been cleared out of lanes. They pushed it into the center divider. Now traffic is slowing away from Roscoe Boulevard. Let's also check out the drive in Pasadena. Earlier wreck 210 eastbound at Lake. It's out of lanes and delays are backing up away from Mountain. We're even looking at the westbound side of the 210. That's loading up in Pasadena, leaving Rosemead all the way back to Fair Oaks. The drive is tough along the 10 eastbound out of City Terrace. City Terrace Drive in stretches all the way to Azusa. And the southbound side of the 5 loads up out of Griffith Park from Colorado. Delays to the 605.
Families have been loving LifeSource Whole House Water Systems for over 40 years. And now when you buy LifeSource, you can save up to $1,000 with the no sales tax special. Call 800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com. And soon, warranty limitations apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA lost an icon on Sunday. Lenny Wilkens, one of only 5 men to be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame as a player and a coach, passed away. He was 88. Wilkens was a pioneer among African-American head coaches in the NBA. His 1,332 victories is third all-time behind Greg Popovich and Don Nelson. Wilkens, a 9-time NBA All-Star as a player, was inducted into the Hall of Fame a 3rd time for his contributions as an assistant coach with the infamous 1992 U.S. Men's Olympic basketball team, a roster that became known as the Dream Team. Lenny Wilkens, an outstanding legacy as a player and a coach. The UCLA and USC women's basketball teams are ranked in the top 10 in this week's Associated Press Top 25 poll. UCLA is 3rd behind UConn and South Carolina. USC is number 8. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey. I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833 KBLACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. I'm really delighted to be in conversation with my friend, Dr. Isaac Wilson. He's a Democratic strategist and former South Carolina Democratic Party chair. Look, there's a reason why I wanted to check in with you today, because there are a lot of Democrats that are going to be coming to your state whispering stuff in the ears of South Carolinians, some of which may have a revisionist history of what took place over the course of the past 24 hours. But we know South Carolina voters are smarter than that. Talk to us about how all of this is playing out in South Carolina, as we're already starting to see folks that are popping up on the presidential hopeful radar descend upon South Carolina. I believe Senator Cory Booker is in South Carolina today, and according to my sources, might be making a stopover by the Penn Center, among other places. But how is this playing on the ground in South Carolina?
The people here are angry. Cory Booker is a son of South Carolina now. He comes a lot. So we've gotten used to the people coming in, and we've gotten used to people trying to pull the wool over our eyes. But people here are angry. Those people that are living paycheck to paycheck, they aren't seeing any relief. We have people who have been laid off from the federal jobs they have here. You got some people that aren't getting paid at the airport. So people are feeling it just the same as they're feeling it anywhere else. And we just want the right candidate to come forth and give us some kind of belief that the system still works and that we have something to hang our hats on, and they give us hope for what's coming next.
Well, one of the folks that right now is not giving folks much hope is Senator Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, where there are reports that progressive groups are calling for Senator Schumer to resign over the shutdown vote. Leaders of one of the nation's largest progressive political organizations have called for him to resign. Joseph Jevar-Hasey, I think I got that right, executive director of Our Revolution, he said in a statement that Chuck Schumer should step down as Senate Minority Leader immediately. If he secretly backed this surrender and voted no to save face, he's a liar. If he couldn't keep his caucus in line, he's inept. Either way, he's proven incapable of leading the fight to prevent healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for millions of Americans. The country can't afford his failed leadership any longer. Very strong words from the group Our Revolution, a progressive group. We also saw on social media Indivisible co-founder Ezra Levine said the timing right after this year's election is intentional. The group called on Schumer to resign 7 months ago after he joined Republicans to avoid a shutdown, saying, quotes, important to understand this. There's a reasonable chance that your Dem senator who voted against it and is acting mad now was in on the play. It's the same reason why they scheduled the surrender for after the election this week. They didn't want people pissed at Dems right before an election. Isaac, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, they have an argument, but I don't argue with people who don't have the facts. We don't know, so we can't make an issue out of that. But let's be honest. This isn't about Chuck Schumer's title or Chuck Schumer. It's about leadership. And Democrats can't preach courage and compromise at the same time. It's impossible, right? So either you fight for the people who put you in office, or you cave to the politics of convenience. And that's with anybody. The base is fired up because they're tired of seeing principles traded for peace with Republicans who never negotiate in good faith, and they aren't going to negotiate in good faith going forward. I think it is time for Chuck Schumer to move aside and let fresh ideas and fresh leadership come in. And we thank him for what he's done for the better part of over 30, 40 years in the Senate. So I'm not calling for him to resign, but I maybe think he shouldn't run for re-election when his time's up, and let somebody with fresh ideas, somebody like an AOC come in who can fight that power, who can stand strong with the people, and who is not persuade emotionally when it comes to Republicans. I think that's what it is for Chuck Schumer. He just can't see the pain of Americans, these Democrats that are hurting. And for somebody to be there that long, it is hard to watch. It's hard.
But Dr. Wilson, I'm going to push you on that just a little bit, right? If the stakes are so high, and if there are a critical mass of leaders that are part of the Democratic base that believe that Chuck Schumer ain't meeting the moment. I mean, it's not like, this is the first time. There have been several moments, very important moments, that it seems under Senator Schumer's leadership, Senate Dems have been at odds with where House Dems are standing. And so, how many more misses can Democrats afford before, bigger chunks of their base, which they appeared to have won back last Tuesday, may find themselves again deserting the Democratic Party. I mean, I don't know if you have time to wait out the remainder of Chuck Schumer's tenure. Why not now? Why not turn over the reins now, especially as folks are heading into a very tough election year?
Because I think it brings more rift, because you got some people that are saying Chuck is fine. You got, like you said, you got a lot of people calling for him to resign. It just brings them more rift. Let's just come together right now. Everybody get on one page, and I don't think we're doing a good job with that. We need to come together with some bulleted things that this is what's important, this is what we're going to fight with. But when you got progressives fighting this fight, you got moderates fighting this fight, and you got the leftists fight, they're fighting this fight. We got to come together as a whole front base.
But that's a part of what made this agreement, this shutdown agreement, so egregious in the minds of so many people, is that Democrats did find that thing that seemed to unite different flanks of the party, and it was the affordability of healthcare. These Obamacare premiums. A lot of people are looking at their bills coming in the mail, and they're seeing that the cost of their healthcare is going up, and that the Democratic base believes that you shouldn't have to choose between affordable healthcare and having the food that you need in order to survive, right? We shouldn't have to choose between SNAP benefits and affordable health care. But the Republicans are putting forward that choice. And it seems that Senate Dems have enabled that false choice, no?
Well, what I mean by that is you have ways that they're handling this thing. And I don't think we come to a basis of, we want to, we want to have the shutdown, but then there's still got these pockets of people who are pushing for us to handle it this way. You got these people still putting us to handle this way. No, we shouldn't do this. No, we shouldn't do. So I think there is an underlining thing. We got the issues. The issues are clearly there, but how we handle and how do we get to the resolution? How do we really fight them when it comes to legislation? We got to come together with that. And I don't think we're there yet. I still think there is some infighting that has to stop, and we need to rally around each other and get through this next election cycle. Let this man go out when he wants to go out. Don't push people out. We had people come against Kamala. Kamala should drop out. Those people should have rallied around Kamala Harris. And maybe, just maybe, this fool wouldn't be in the White House if they had come out, instead of talking against her, they had come out and said, we need to rally at this point. We'll talk to her when she gets to the House. When she gets over there in that big White House, then we'll talk to her. But they didn't. We had fighting going on about what should happen. So we got to clear that up.
Well, you can't be a leader if you ain't got followers. And I think one of the takeaways from what has happened in the past 24 hours is, whether it was coordinated or not, it demonstrated that there were, almost a dozen sitting United States senators that cut a different deal than what Schumer purports to have been working on. And that deal won the day. That deal is the one that got Republicans on board. That deal is at odds with what Democrats have been saying to their base for the past 40 days and 40 nights. And so, call me crazy. I don't think I am, but if you're entering into a negotiation, if you are really fighting for something, then the terms of the debate are important. The terms of the debate, as articulated by Senator Schumer, as articulated by Hakeem Jeffries, Representative Jeffries, were healthcare costs are too high. They're skyrocketing. We need to bring down healthcare costs. We need to open up the government. We need to pay our federal workers. We need to restore SNAP benefits. And we need to restore the cuts to Medicaid. Those were the terms of the debate. Mm-hmm. And over the course of the past 40 days, we've seen each one of those terms, kind of get a little bit more murky until they kind of were written in disappearing ink. Mm-hmm. Disappearing ink. And so when we talk about leadership, you can't have a leadership if you don't have followers. And folks aren't going to follow you if they can't trust that you are advancing what you say you're advancing.
I totally agree. Again, if you had those 12 senators that come together and they created something totally different, that means that we're not in sync with one another. That means that somewhere along the line, we lost it. But I agree. Like I said, I'm not calling for the man to resign. I do think we need new leadership.
Do you think the Working Families Party is more equipped to meet the moment than the Democratic establishment right now?
It might be. They have different ideas. They have a different set of rules they play by. And they have some people who are ready to go to fight against Democrats. To fight against Republicans. And the Democrats are standing idly by and watching them, get more and more crowd pleasing than they are. So I think they might be more apt now to meet the moment for the American people.
When we come forward, Isaac, I want you to stick with us for a second. I want to talk about the Supreme Court and how they're considering a challenge to the Mississippi mail-in ballot law. In my view, I think this is a trial balloon. This is a test case for what they want to do across the South and across the country. We certainly know that South Carolina over the years has not been spared in terms of efforts to impede the voting rights of all people, particularly Black people. I want to get your take on this and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help. September is World Alzheimer's Month, a time to shine a light on a public health crisis that hits Black families hardest. 1 in 5 Black adults ages 70 and older is living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD, and it's not a normal part of aging. Early signs like repeating questions, missed appointments, even trouble handling bills might seem small, but they matter. The good news? There are treatment options available that may slow AD when diagnosed early. Don't wait. Visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com to learn more. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Delighted to be in conversation with Dr. Isaac Wilson. He's a Democratic strategist and former South Carolina Democratic Party chair. South Carolina, we're going to hear more and more about South Carolina. We know it is a key Democratic primary state, an early Democratic primary state when we think about the 2028 election. Right about now, a couple years before that election, we start to see Democrats coming out to South Carolina frequently. I know that Senator Cory Booker is in South Carolina today. Do you all expect to continue to stay first in the primary lineup, or under Ken Martin's leadership, are you all hearing that that may change?
Right now, it is expected to be stay the same. There is no talks of moving it. We know that could change at any time, but as of right now, the word from the state Democratic Party, where our leader Crystal Spain, it is expected to be the same.
Is there a campaign afoot to keep it that way? Or is that not necessary at the moment?
It's not necessary at the moment. I think just what happened in the last election, where we changed the trajectory of a race in Joe Biden's race. I think it's just we have that momentum where we pick those presidents, we pick those nominees that go on to be the Democratic nominee.
But I mean, you all are well aware, and I think the party's well aware that a candidate that would appeal to early primary voters in South Carolina may not be the same folks that carry an appeal to voters in Iowa or New Hampshire, no?
Well, we're aware of that, but as history shows, South Carolina is we've done a good job with it, and I think South Carolina is more so of a taste of what the country looks like. In my opinion, we are a very, very red state, but our cities are very, very blue. So we get a taste of both worlds, and the pulse is very, very different here. So we can kind of sense what the rest of the country is probably going to do. Again, we revived a very dead campaign in Joe Biden when he came here, and he went on to be president of the United States. So we have a pretty good reputation.
Well, we shall see. Speaking of voting, the Supreme Court's to consider a challenge to Mississippi mail-in ballot law. NPR reporting that the Supreme Court agreed to consider whether federal law prevents states from counting mail-in ballots received after Election Day. The decision could potentially upend elections in some states. What impact might this have in South Carolina if the Supreme Court rules that in Mississippi, ballots don't count after Election Day?
It could have a very bad effect on our election, and this is just another trick in their playbook. It's another tack dressed up as election integrity. The Mississippi law is just a rerun of the same voter suppression that we've seen over decades ago, right? Across the South. So the Supreme Court has a choice, really. You either protect democracy for all people, or you keep pretending that discrimination ended in 1965, because it really hasn't. So every ballot matters, especially for the ones that keep trying to block it. So it's going to have a very, very negative effect across the South if this right here were to pass, because people are going to follow you if it gets passed in Mississippi.
Are you optimistic that mail-in ballots will continue to count on and after Election Day as long as they're postmarked?
I think so. I think as long as they're postmarked, I think they won't side with these people. I think we'll still have mail-in ballots as long as the date is postmarked before Election Day.
What gives you confidence that the Supreme Court is going to fall in that direction on this decision, especially given how much we've heard President Trump talk about, really rail against mail-in ballots, saying that Election Day should be one day. It shouldn't be, several weeks before. There shouldn't be these vote by mail ballots. And given the grip that the president seems to have on the U.S. Supreme Court, what gives you confidence that they're going to come up on the right side of these mail-in ballots?
I think some things are just too far, and I think you don't want to mess with things. And I think the circuit court judges are playing a major role. They're stopping Donald Trump in some things. So if we can get to those circuit court judges to maybe make some kind of precedents happen, those Supreme Court justices will look and say, hey, these people are in those areas. And so we can't just go and just overshadow what these people have already put down as law or went against. And I think that hope and that integrity of those people will come back. At least that's what I believe.
Well, we hope that you're right about this. We're all going to be paying extra close attention to this, because when it comes to these mail-in ballot laws, as goes Mississippi, as goes so many parts of the country, we know that vote by mail has become increasingly popular, particularly among Democratic voters. And so anybody looking to undermine the integrity of folks' vote, this would potentially be a dagger in the heart of efforts to support vote by mail ballots. But I'm sure we'll come back to this in due time. My thanks to Isaac Wilson. He is a frequent contributor right here on A More Perfect Union, also a Democratic strategist, always has his finger on the pulse of what's afoot in South Carolina and across the South. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. In our next hour, you'll hear from former White House fellow William Godwin. In addition, we're going to share a little bit of my interview with the author behind the new biography on Tupac that everybody's talking about. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The Senate passed a funding bill to help end the historic government shutdown, with 8 Democrats joining Republicans.
The motion upon reconsideration is agreed to.
Final approval could still take days. And while the Senate managed to break the gridlock, 2 Maryland Democrats were not sold on the deal. The Senate voted 60-40 to pass a funding bill that could reopen the government, but Senators Chris Van Hollen and Black Senator Angela Alsobrooks voted no, saying it does not tackle rising healthcare costs or hold President Trump accountable. A California judge has dismissed a long-running paternity lawsuit against Jay-Z. The case, filed by Lily Coley on behalf of Ramir Satterthwaite, claimed the rapper fathered Satterthwaite in the 1990s. Judge Sherilyn Peace Garnett tossed the suit with prejudice, ending a decade-long legal battle first filed by Satterthwaite's late mother in 2010. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Up in South LA, we're looking at the latest on the 110, making your way northbound, and that drive is slowing down in stretches, leaving the 105 all the way to the 5. Southbound slowing, backing up out of Elysian Park from the 5 freeway all the way back towards Manchester Avenue. Let's look at the 105.